Developing story, and we will keep you updated on that. This and more coming up next. My name is Vic. Staged a walkout boycotting the reading of the 2023-2024 budget. The first under cabinet secretary in Njuguna Ndung'u, the members of parliament claimed that their action was purely in protest of the manner under which Kenya Kwanza last evening chose to pass the Finance Bill 2023. The legislators are terming Ruto's budget as bloated and without a shred of people's interest.
Is to protest against the very arbitrary manner in which the debate and the final vote on the finance bill was undertaken yesterday. We feel it was obviously rushed to achieve a predetermined objective.
Hata kama tutabaki wawili pale ndani ya bunge, lakini tutasimama na wananchi. Hii bajeti tumeikataa na leo ndio maana sisi tumesusia, hatutaki kusomewa bajeti ambayo sisi hatukuipitisha.
Huyo hasla wanaita hasla, Mkenya wa kawaida mpigaji kura, wanatoa pesa yao, wanajiwekea wao. Ona hii mabilioni wameweka kwa ofisi. Kwani State House inajengwa upya? 7 billion.
Wasikize ground inasema nini? Ground inasema no. Na wakipitisha, tukutane kwa...
We cannot sit there because our sitting there would sanitize a very flawed process. Would give legitimacy to a very legitimate undertaking.
No, and we are not going to listen to those budget estimates which are not sensitive to the common mwananchi. As of yesterday, the cost of fuel has gone up, bus fare is going to go up, and everything else in life is going to go up, and we are not going to participate.
You have not demonstrated that you can make sure that Kenyans eat. You have not demonstrated that the health sector can work. Why do you want to provide housing for this school? It is for that reason that we reject, and Kenyans must reject and call out this government.
It's inconceivable that a member could stand under Standing Order 95 and the speaker accedes to stop debate and go to the voting.
Wananchi majority wameikataa. Wale wote ambao wameikubali ni wachache. Tunajua ukweli. Hata wengi hapa walipiga kura kwa sababu wanaogopa, wametishwa na vyama vyao na mkubwa wa vyama vyao.
We are not in support of this budget. We are not in support of the finance bill. It's coming for a third reading. We will vote against it.
This is a nation that requires rigorous advocacy and true leadership. At this pace, I don't know where we are heading to. This is a country that requires real prayers. We are lost, and that's what I can say.
Right, and still on the budget reading, the inflation rate is expected to decrease while Treasury Cabinet Secretary Njuguna Ndung'u affirms the country's current inflation rate stands at 8%, emphasizes that this marks a significant drop from the 9.6% recorded in October last year, thanks to the government's implemented measures. According to Ndung'u, the inflation rate has remained above the upper bound target of 7.5% since June last year, which he attributes to high fuel and food prices resulting from adverse weather conditions and past domestic currency depreciation.
Let me turn to ease of doing business, Mr. Chairman, and consumer protection. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in order to ease the cost of doing business and minimize compliance costs for micro, small, and medium enterprises, the Competition Authority of Kenya will exempt MSE, medium and small enterprise sector from merger notifications, thus enabling startups, digital businesses, among others. Further, the authority will monitor and conduct surveillance audits specifically in the manufacturing and agro-processing sector so as to protect MSMEs from incidences and abuse of power, of buyer power. Second, implement codes of practice. The Competition Authority will implement codes of practice to ensure that MSMEs in the retail and insurance sectors are protected from powerful buyers. The Competition Authority will screen and investigate infractions such as suspected cartels or abuse of dominance conduct, such as excessive pricing, price discrimination, predatory pricing, margin squeeze, to ensure a level playing field. And the Competition Authority will actualize and initiate area actualize the initiative ARIA started with the National Assembly to address the issue of price fixing by professional services to commodities. In addition, the authority will seek redress through replacement or refunds to customers affected by dark commercial patterns, scams, fraud under the digital economy.
Now, President William Ruto's State House spending has increased nearly fourfold compared to former President Uhuru Kenyatta's daily expenditure. According to a report by the Controller of Budget, Margaret Nyakango, Kenyatta used to spend approximately 2.3 million shillings daily, whereas the Ruto regime now spends 8.33 billion shillings daily. And here is Roifon Shikuku with the details.
Speaking during a meeting on engagement with the media yesterday, Controller of Budget Margaret Nyakango said, State House has spent more than 1.526 billion Kenyan shillings in 9 months. Comparatively, President Uhuru's government used 626 million Kenyan shillings in the same period last year. This indicates that there has been an increase in the spending by 800 million Kenyan shillings this year. His office has spent 456 million Kenyan shillings on local travel and 88 million Kenyan shillings on foreign trips, which translates to 582 million Kenyan shillings. On the other hand, Uhuru's government spent 294 million Kenyan shillings on local travel and 24.9 million Kenyan shillings on foreign trips in the financial year 2021-2022. The increase in current State House expenditure could be due to increased foreign travel and increased activities at State House and outside State House, whereby the President is usually accompanied by a huge delegation comprising of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, Cabinet Secretaries, Principal Secretaries and Members of Parliament. President Ruto has traveled twice to United States, United Kingdom, Ethiopia, Uganda, Burundi, and once to Tanzania, Egypt, DRC, South Korea, Eritrea, France, Senegal, Germany, Belgium, Rwanda, Netherlands, Israel, South Africa, Zambia, and Djibouti. When he assumed office, President Ruto promised to reduce recurrent expenditure by 300 billion Kenyan shillings. Therefore, the question remains, how will he reduce the recurrent expenditure when the State House has doubled its spending? Oifan Shikuku, EBN TV.
Guard the independence of the judiciary zealously. These are the words of Chief Justice Koome and Orengo. They have urged Kenyans have been urged to ensure that they safeguard the independence of judiciary if the country was to make strides in development. Chief Justice Martha Koome and Siaya Governor James Orengo say the gains made in ensuring a judiciary that serves the Kenyans equally did not come on a silver platter, as many lives and property were lost to fight for the same. They were speaking at the Siaya Law Courts after the Chief Justice opened a new High Court building today. Justice Koome said that the journey towards a people-centered justice system was no small feat, adding that it calls for understanding of the unique need and challenges of Kenyans so as to tailor the approaches to meet the needs.
About the rule of law, respect for one another, and living in harmony, in peace and unity. As we inaugurate the High Court building in Siaya, we are not merely unveiling the building of brick and mortar. We are unveiling hope, and we are unveiling a symbol of justice and of our unwavering commitment to bringing justice closer to the people. The launch of this High Court building is a manifestation of the ambition of the principles set in our Constitution about social justice that we've been able to deduct.
Constitutional dispensation to be clawed back. I don't want to take for granted ever in my life the importance of an independent judiciary. And I've lived to it to see the difference between an independent judiciary and an executive controlled judiciary. So in your able hands, and those of your colleagues in the judiciary, whether you make decisions that we like or we don't like, the most important thing is we should never, never, never lose that battle again, where we have to fight for a free and independent judiciary, because it cost a lot of lives, a lot of people suffered for it, and if we fail as a nation not to have a free and independent judiciary, all else will be impossible to achieve. Peace and working institutions, and that I know we will strive as Kenyans to make sure that we continue to protect the judiciary and make sure that the only power,
Right, and now President William Ruto has urged the International Labour Organization to broaden its dialogue by including the voices of the unemployed. He highlighted that while the ILO system has predominantly focused on workers' rights, it is essential to also address the concerns of the unemployed. President Ruto made these remarks during the World of Work Summit organized by the International Labour Organization in Geneva, Switzerland. He expressed concern over Africa's highest unemployment rates globally, with numerous countries reporting joblessness affecting between a quarter and a third of their populations.
The ILO system is worker-oriented in that it primarily represents workers' interests. Yet, labor rights are affected by both employment and unemployment. It should concern us very deeply that unemployment rates in Africa are some of the world's highest, with many countries reporting between a quarter and a third of their populations not engaged in secure, productive employment. As we speak about matters pertaining to work, we must also speak about the millions of jobless people whose voices cannot be heard at a conference like this. The aspirations of the unemployed matter and should be seen to matter, especially for ILO. Social justice for all makes it imperative to expand the social dialogue from the tripartite model, I suggest, to a four-sided forum of workers, the unemployed, employers, and government. Governments, employers, and workers must be equally concerned about the unemployment crisis and committed to finding sustainable solutions to it in order to bring the majority of the world's population into the ILO's traditional constituency. Majority of the world's unemployed people live in the global south, and especially in the continent that I come from. On average, Africa invests 30% of its annual budgets, or $150 billion, on educating and training of its youth and workforce. Only 30% of them join the workforce, and all the way to 70% stay unemployed. What a waste. This perennial waste of human capital and productive opportunity must squarely form part of the most urgent concerns of workers, employers, as well as governments. Traditionally, it has always been a concern of the unemployed and government. I believe we will score serious breakthroughs when we incorporate unemployment and the unemployed.
Right now, moving on, Interior Cabinet Secretary Professor Kithure Kindiki on Thursday embarked on a three-day working tour of Lamu County. During the visit, Professor Kindiki said he will hold a series of meetings with the County Security and Intelligence Committee, political, religious, business and community leaders, as well as members of the public. Upon arrival, he held a meeting with Lamu County and Lamu with Sub-County Security and Intelligence Committees in Witu area. Lamu has in the past been plagued with insecurity challenges that have left several people dead and property destroyed.
mara nyingi anaumiza maafisa wetu wa usalama, saa zingine anaumiza wananchi. Mimi nataka niseme ya kwamba serikali hii ya William Ruto akiwa rais wetu imeamua vita vya milele dhidi ya magaidi na watu ambao wanaharibu amani na usalama. Hao magaidi tumewaamulia, we have decided, tutawaangamiza wote one by one. Ile tu kitu naomba ni moja, wananchi, naomba tumalize shida zetu baina zetu hapa, tuwe na umoja wetu kama jamii ya hapa. Mabarabara ambayo ni uchukuzi wa umma, watu ambao hawana hatia na hawajui nini imefanyika, munawafungia barabara, munatupa mawe, wengine hata wanaharibu maduka ya watu ambao hawana hatia. Hii Kenya tukiendelea hivi tutaharibu nchi.
Now, foreign investors wishing to invest in the country have been urged to take advantage of the prevailing conducive environment. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua yesterday said the Kenya Kwanza administration has put in place the necessary measures to ensure all investors put in their money in the nation's economy. The Deputy President made the remarks during the Avia Dev Africa Real Estate Workshop at a Nairobi hotel. Gachagua said they have eliminated bureaucratic tendencies that have for years frustrated potential investors.
This meeting on diversification of revenue sources also takes place at a time that the aviation industry in Africa has been flying into turbulence over the last decade. In the past 3 years, for instance, the industry on the continent has registered more than $3.5 billion losses. One of the main reasons is the high cost of fuel, leading to instability and unpredictability. Some of these market forces are beyond the control of the aviation industry. For instance, the COVID-19 pandemic almost shut down the aviation industry, and even here our own Kenya Airways was no exception, and the aviation industry is still seeking to recover from the effects of COVID-19, which was a natural calamity beyond the control of the industry. This therefore means that airlines will continue to sink further into losses unless they explore innovative alternatives to complement the carrier revenue. And appreciate Avia Dev Real Estate for this key initiative of connecting stakeholders of Africa airports to investors and technical experts. It is my hope that this workshop will come up with solid and innovative real estate long-term strategies that will contribute to stabilizing the aviation industry in Africa. This will spur fast, reliable and efficient connectivity across the continent. I assure you that you have the right environment to invest here. I want to assure you that what you are trying to do here today is aligned with our election manifesto, the Kenya Kwanza plan of creating more houses for the urban.
Now to other matters, AGRA has launched its Kenya strategy to support the country's efforts to enhance food security and build the resilience of smallholder farmers by strengthening market systems. The 5-year strategy aligns with Kenya's Vision 2030 blueprint for long-term development, which aims to transform the country into a newly industrializing middle-income nation. The strategy builds on the achievements and lessons from AGRA 2.0 strategy. Now moving on, Huduma centers have been praised for offering credible services that have suppressed corruption in the country. Speaking during the celebrations to mark 10 years since the inception of Huduma centers in the country, Narok County Commissioner Isaac Maside said citizens are served faster without being asked to pay any bribe for the services they get. Commissioner Masinde asked the public servants to have a heart of service and serve their residents with passion without minding their background so as to develop the nation. Now let's take a short break, but don't go far. We will be right back with more updates.
Peace, love, and joy. I especially welcome you to worship with us at Redeemed Gospel Church Buruburu. This is a true family church, a true spiritual home. Redeemed Gospel Church Buruburu is home to exuberant prayers, deep and true worship. A house of prayer that will leave you feeling refreshed. Our first service starts at 7:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. and our second service starts at 10:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. On Wednesdays, we have our midweek service from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. and every Friday from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. we have our night of glory. This is the church you have been looking for. This is the place for your spiritual growth and maturity. See you this Sunday and karibu sana.
Right, welcome back. Actualizing universal health coverage for Kenyans is one of President William Ruto's main goals, which raises eyebrows on why, in his first budget, allocation to the health sector has been reduced by 5 billion shillings to 141.2 billion Kenyan shillings compared to the higher allocation in the previous financial year. However, the 2023-24 budget has brought about the addition of a digital health platform that will facilitate the delivery of health services in hospitals.
Kenya Kwanza administration is committed and determined to realize the constitutional right to health. This entails promoting access to quality and affordable health care through the universal health care coverage program.
Ambayo imetolewa na wananchi kwa mambo ya matibabu isipelekwe kwenda kufanya kazi ingine. Pesa ya matibabu itumiwe kuimprove facilities ya matibabu.
The government has reformed the National Health Insurance Fund to meet the urgent needs of Kenyans at the bottom of the socio-economic structure by actualizing its purpose as a social medical insurance to effect budget allocation of Kenya shillings 245 million to strengthen prevention and response to gender-based violence in.
Now to health matters, where public health workers in Turkana County have elected James Koya as their chairman, the position vacated by Lucas Iditi, who is vying for the seat of deputy chairman at the national level. Koya, who defeated his close rival Sami Kipyegon, has vowed to strengthen health services in Turkana County by ensuring residents get quality services. However, the chairman has promised to ensure that health workers join the union of those workers to promote their unity in the health sector in the country.
All of us, the way we are joining association, let us fast track the issue of joining the union. Supposed to come up with a role, let members join. Najua tayari nimeanza kufanyia communication. That one will fight for whatever you're calling quackism. It deals with training, it deals with licensing of professionals and practice of public health. That one, its work, it's cut. Training, licensing, and practice of public health.
Na mimi kama chairman nitahakikisha ya kwamba ninapigania haki yao. Nitajaribu kuongea na washikadau wote ili tuhakikishe ya kwamba public health imerudi vile ilikuwa zamani. Na kazi yetu ni kuhakikisha ya kwamba tunafanya kazi na community, tunafanya kazi na washikadau wote kuhakikisha ya kwamba community wanakaa vizuri ili wasipatwe na magonjwa yote ama tunaita kwa lugha ya kimombo outbreak of diseases. Hiyo ndio lengo letu, kuhakikisha ya kwamba community wetu wanapata huduma safi, wanapata huduma ya kuboresha ili wasipatwe na magonjwa yote. Tutafanya kazi mzuri, tutahakikisha ya kwamba jamii yetu tunatumikia kwa njia ambayo inatakikana kulingana na katiba.
Now, stakeholders in Uasin Gishu County, led by the National Police Service and County Administration, have mooted an action plan toward the eradication of unlicensed illicit brews and other forms of drug abuse as the North Rift region country ranked second behind Nakuru in the larger Rift Valley region. The plan includes the formation of a joint secretariat that will enlist police, county enforcement, NACADA, Kenya Revenue Authority and government administrators. During a joint meeting that was also graced by officials from the judiciary, Uasin Gishu Police Commander Benjamin Mwadhi revealed that law enforcers will exempt school children from criminal culpability during crackdowns, as he warned parents against involving their children in illicit brew business. The county government of Uasin Gishu has rolled a program in Moiben constituency to rehabilitate notorious brewers and help them find meaningful employment.
Going forward, we have agreed to work as a team to make sure that we fight this menace of illicit brew and drug abuse in Uasin Gishu County. Na so far we are doing well, we are a team, we are working as a team. Tumekuwa na gains, lakini tunaweka mbinu zaidi ili kuweza kupigana na hiyo shida, kwa sababu His Excellency the President himself has identified this as a problem kwa county, kwa nchi yetu ambayo lazima tupigane nayo.
The persons to be arrested are those persons who are of 18 years, especially the brewers. But again, the law allows us to arrest any perpetrator. There is the issue of criminal responsibility. Whoever is criminally responsible will be arrested, but then the process would be different. If kids are arrested, the process and dealing the management is different from when we arrest adults.
Kuna wale ambao wameachana na biashara hii ya pombe haramu, na kama afisi tumeweza kutambua watu 300 ambao wamebadilika, wameachana na pombe, na mstahiki gavana ameweza kutenga pesa ambazo hawa ambao wamebadilika wataweza kupewa ili wafanye biashara.
Now, orthopedists have asked the government to remove the tax on the purchase of medical equipment to reduce the cost of treatment in the country. Speaking in Mombasa in a 5-day conference, the doctors have asked the government as well as private hospitals to invest in technology to improve service delivery.
If you put costs on rent, the cost will go up because that's a cost on the hospital. The other thing that we need to do is do local manufacturing for the implants, for the inputs. That will definitely reduce costs. Another thing that increases cost is advanced disease.
So that, with the help of the government intervening to help lower the costs that will be involved with regard to manufacturing, that will help bring down the cost. And as well, the taxation needs to actually be zero rated, if you ask me, with orthopedics. That will help as well with the management of this patient.
Moved away from many open surgeries to the keyhole surgeries. Arthroscopies mainly. Now it is just a 1 centimeter incision, rather than before where we used to do some 10 centimeter incisions. Therefore the recovery is faster. There's saving in terms of cost, hospital stay and recovery. The other thing is the precision of diagnosis. With the new technology, we're able to make diagnosis cheaper, in a better way and faster.
Technology itself is helping reduce the operation time, especially with us, and minimizing equally the type of procedures that we are doing. So even in terms of healing, that is also coming down. The duration, the hospital stay duration is equally coming down, so the costs again come down in that line. And then the ability of the patient to be able to rehab and get back to work early and in good time, that also effectively brings down the.
Now on to business matters, where Equity Group on Wednesday announced it is acquiring Rwanda's company General de Banki. The Kenyan lender will pay 6.7 billion Kenyan shillings for 91.93% controlling equity stake. Banki is Rwanda's 5th largest bank, and its subsequent amalgamation with Equity Group's existing banking subsidiary in Rwanda is set to make Equity Bank the 2nd largest bank in Rwanda. Rwanda has been Equity Group's highest return business. The bank will have a total combined assets market share of 18% and a deposits market share of 19% based on audited accounts as of December 31st, 2022. Right, and that closes this bulletin for us today. Thank you very much for making time to join us this afternoon. It has been such a pleasure, but don't go far. Stay tuned in for more updates, and also stay in touch with the social media handles where we will keep you updated. And at exactly 4 p.m. Emmanuel Maro will also be here for the Swahili Bulletin. My name is Victor Enzobeli. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon and the rest of your weekend.